My dear friend, I want to speak to you today about something that could change everything in your life. Something so simple, yet so profound, that most people overlook it entirely. And that is the power of silence. Not just any silence, but sacred silence that connects you to your divine purpose. You see, we live in a generation that has forgotten how to be still. From the moment we wake up, we're bombarded with notifications, opinions, and the endless chatter of a world that never stops talking. Your phone buzzes, the television blares, social media feeds scroll endlessly, and everyone has something to say about how you should live your life. But let me tell you something that might surprise you. The greatest transformations in history didn't happen in the noise. They happened in the quiet moments. Moses received the Ten Commandments not in the bustling marketplace, but on a silent mountain. Jesus himself regularly withdrew to quiet places to pray and reflect. Even the Apostle Paul, after his dramatic conversion, spent 3 years in the Arabian desert in silence before beginning his ministry. The first step in your 30-day transformation journey is to reclaim that sacred silence. Because deep within you, beneath all the noise and confusion, there is a still small voice, the voice of your Creator speaking to your soul. But you cannot hear it if you're drowning in the constant chatter of this world. I know many of you wake up, and the first thing you reach for is your phone. Before your feet even touch the floor, you're scrolling through social media comparing your real life to someone else's highlight reel. You start your day already feeling behind, already feeling inadequate, already feeling like you're not enough. But what if I told you that this simple habit, this seemingly innocent morning routine, is actually stealing your peace, your clarity, and your purpose? What if I told you that those first few moments of your day are the most precious moments you have, and you're giving them away to strangers on the internet? For the next 30 days, I want you to try something revolutionary. Instead of reaching for your phone when you wake up, I want you to reach toward heaven. Start your morning in prayer, in gratitude, in quiet reflection. Give your mind a chance to breathe before you let the world flood it with its problems, its fears, its endless distractions. The noise of this world is like weeds in a garden, my friend. If you don't pull them out, they will choke the life out of everything good that's trying to grow in your heart. Those negative voices on television, those toxic people who drain your energy, those social media feeds that fill you with envy and discontent, they are spiritual weeds, and it's time to pull them out by the roots. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a hermit or disconnect from technology entirely. But I am saying that you need to be intentional about what voices you allow into your heart and mind, because whatever you allow in your ears and eyes eventually sinks into your heart. And what sinks into your heart shapes the direction of your entire life. Silence is not your enemy, dear friend. Silence is your teacher. It is in those quiet moments that God speaks most clearly. It is in solitude that you discover who you really are and who you're meant to become. It is in the stillness that you find the strength to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Some of you are afraid of silence because silence forces you to face yourself, your dreams, your fears, your regrets, your hopes. Maybe you've been running from yourself for years, staying busy to avoid dealing with the deep questions of your soul. But I want you to know that silence is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. So here's my challenge for you as we begin this journey together. Give me 30 days of intentional silence. Start with just 30 minutes each morning. No phone, no television, no distractions. Just you, your thoughts, your prayers, and your dreams. Take evening walks without music blaring in your ears. Learn to sit in your room without reaching for another distraction. Choose silence. Choose clarity. Choose to disconnect from the world's noise so you can reconnect with the voice of your soul. Because that voice, that still small voice within you, is the bridge between where you are today and where God wants you to be tomorrow. If this message is speaking to your heart today, I want to encourage you to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel for more life-changing content, and leave a comment below telling me what area of your life you're ready to transform. Your engagement helps us reach more people who need to hear this message of hope and transformation. Now, my friend, once you've learned to quiet the noise and hear that still small voice within you, you'll discover something remarkable. That voice will begin to show you areas of your life that need change. It will reveal dreams that have been buried under years of distraction. It will illuminate a path toward the person you were created to become. But here's where many people stumble. They hear the call, they see the vision, but they lack the discipline to walk the path. And that's what I want to talk to you about now. The sacred art of self-discipline. Every single day, life presents you with countless choices. And I'm not talking about the big life-altering decisions. I'm talking about the small, seemingly insignificant choices that you make dozens of times each day. The choice to get up when the alarm rings or hit the snooze button. The choice to eat nourishing food or reach for junk. The choice to speak words of encouragement or criticism. The choice to take action on your dreams or say, "I'll do it tomorrow." These small choices, my friend, are the building blocks of your destiny. Each one seems insignificant in the moment, but together they create the trajectory of your entire life. And the power to make the right choice, especially when it's the hard choice, is what we call discipline. Now I want to be honest with you about discipline. It's not glamorous. It doesn't feel good in the moment. Discipline means getting up when you don't want to. It means doing what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like doing it. It means choosing long-term fulfillment over temporary pleasure. But here's what I've learned in my years of ministry: discipline is actually a form of self-love. When you discipline yourself, you're saying, "I love my future self enough to make the hard choice today." You're saying, "I believe in the vision God has given me enough to sacrifice temporary comfort for lasting transformation." Think about it this way: every act of discipline is like making a deposit in the bank account of your future. Every time you choose the right thing over the easy thing, you're investing in the person you're becoming. And just like compound interest in a bank account, these small investments of discipline compound over time until they create extraordinary results. For these next 30 days, I want you to make discipline your closest companion. Not your burden, not your enemy, but your companion. Start small, and I cannot emphasize this enough. Start small. Maybe it's committing to wake up just 1 hour earlier each day. Maybe it's reading for 20 minutes instead of scrolling mindlessly on your phone. Maybe it's taking a 30-minute walk each evening. The key is not to overwhelm yourself with massive changes that you can't sustain. The key is to build discipline like you would build muscle, gradually, consistently, with patience and persistence. Because here's what happens when you start small and stay consistent: your confidence grows. Your self-respect increases. You begin to trust yourself again. You see, many of you have lost trust in yourselves. You've made promises to yourself that you didn't keep. You've set goals that you didn't achieve. You've started transformations that you didn't finish. And each time a little voice in your head whispered, "You can't do it. You'll never change. You don't have what it takes." But discipline is how you silence that voice. Discipline is how you prove to yourself that you are capable of change. Every time you keep a commitment to yourself, no matter how small, you're rebuilding that foundation of self-trust. You're saying to that doubting voice, "You're wrong. I am changing. I am growing. I am becoming who I was created to be." Now I know some of you are thinking, "Billy, what if I fail? What if I miss a day or break my commitment?" And here's what I want you to understand. Failure is not the opposite of discipline. Failure is part of discipline. The disciplined person is not someone who never fails. The disciplined person is someone who gets back up every time they fall. If you miss a day, don't quit. If you break a commitment, don't abandon the goal. If you stumble, don't stay down. Get back up, dust yourself off, and start again. Because the battle for your future is not won or lost in a single day. It's won or lost in how you respond to setbacks. Remember, my friend, greatness is never built on comfort. Greatness is built on discipline, on sacrifice, on choosing what is hard today so that life becomes easier tomorrow. And the beautiful thing about discipline is this: the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. What feels like a struggle today will become a natural part of who you are tomorrow. So I challenge you, will you embrace the temporary discomfort of discipline so that you can experience the lasting reward of transformation? Will you make the hard choices today so that your tomorrow can be everything God intended it to be? As you begin to build discipline and create new habits in your life, you'll discover something that might surprise you. The people around you will start to react. Some will celebrate your growth and cheer you on. Others, however, might try to pull you back to where you used to be. This brings me to one of the most crucial lessons I can share with you. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. You can have the strongest intentions, the clearest vision, and the deepest commitment to change. But if you're surrounded by people who don't support your transformation, your growth will always be limited. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're planting a beautiful garden. You've prepared the soil, you've chosen the finest seeds, you water them faithfully, and you tend to them with care. But if that garden is surrounded by weeds, no matter how good your seeds are, no matter how much you water them, those weeds will compete for nutrients, block the sunlight, and eventually choke the life out of your plants. The people in your life are like that garden environment. Some are like fertile soil that helps you grow. Others are like weeds that drain your energy and limit your potential. And if you want to see real transformation in these 30 days, you must be honest about which is which. I've seen countless people with tremendous potential never reach their destiny because they allowed the wrong voices to influence their journey. They had dreams, they had plans, they even took steps toward change. But they were surrounded by complainers who taught them to complain. They spent time with gossipers who pulled them into negativity. They listened to doubters who convinced them their dreams were impossible. You see, energy is contagious. Spend time around positive, growth-minded people, and you'll find yourself becoming more positive and growth-minded. Spend time around negative, stuck people, and you'll find yourself becoming negative and stuck. This isn't a judgment on anyone's character. It's simply a truth about human nature. Now I understand that making changes to your circle isn't always easy. Some of the people you may need to distance yourself from might be family members, longtime friends, or colleagues. And I'm not telling you to be harsh or unkind, but I am telling you that your future is too valuable to be placed in the hands of people who don't believe in it. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and even for them is to create some space. This doesn't mean you stop caring about them. It doesn't mean you think you're better than them. But it does mean you recognize that if you're going to become who God created you to be, you need to surround yourself with people who see that vision and support that journey. As you create space from negative influences, you must intentionally seek out positive ones. Look for people who are where you want to be. Find mentors who have walked the path you're trying to walk. Connect with others who share your hunger for growth and transformation. These people might not be in your immediate circle right now. They might be authors whose books inspire you, speakers whose messages challenge you, or even people you admire from a distance. The point is to be intentional about what voices you allow to influence your mind and heart. Over these next 30 days, I want you to pay careful attention to how you feel after spending time with different people. Do you feel encouraged or discouraged? Do you feel motivated to pursue your goals or tempted to give up? Do you feel better about yourself and your future, or worse? Your answers to these questions will tell you everything you need to know about whether someone belongs in your inner circle during this season of transformation. But here's something beautiful that happens when you make these changes. You don't just change who you spend time with, you change who you attract. As you become more positive, disciplined, and focused on growth, you naturally draw other positive, disciplined, growth-minded people into your life. Remember, your circle is either pulling you toward your destiny or dragging you back into your history. It's either lifting you up to become who you're meant to be or holding you down at who you used to be. And the choice of which kind of circle you have is ultimately yours to make. Now, my friend, as you create the right environment around you, you must turn your attention to the most important battlefield of all, the battlefield of your mind. Because everything, and I mean everything, that happens in your life begins with a thought. Every action you take, every word you speak, every habit you build, every dream you pursue or abandon, it all starts in your mind. Your mind is like the control center of your entire life. If your mind is strong, your life will be strong. If your mind is weak, your life will be weak. Many of you don't realize the power of your thoughts. You let them come and go randomly, never considering that these thoughts are actually shaping your reality. You allow negative thoughts to run wild in your mind, and then you wonder why your life feels negative. You replay past failures over and over, and then you wonder why you can't move forward. But here's a truth that can change everything. You have more control over your thoughts than you might realize. You cannot control every thought that enters your mind, but you can control which thoughts you dwell on, which ones you feed, and which ones you allow to take root in your heart. For many of you, your mind has become your worst enemy. Instead of being a tool that helps you build the life you want, it has become a prison that keeps you trapped in the life you don't want. The voice in your head tells you things like, "You can't do it. You'll never change. You don't deserve better. Your past defines you. You're not smart enough, talented enough, or strong enough." Every time you agree with these thoughts, every time you accept them as truth, you are reinforcing chains that keep you bound. But what if I told you that you have the power to break those chains? What if I told you that you can actually retrain your mind to work for you instead of against you? The Bible tells us to take every thought captive and to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This isn't just good spiritual advice. It's practical wisdom for creating lasting change in your life. Here's how you begin. Start paying attention to your inner dialogue. Notice what you say to yourself throughout the day. Are you your own biggest encourager or your own worst critic? Do you speak to yourself with the same kindness you would show a good friend? Or do you say things to yourself that you would never say to another person? For the next 30 days, I want you to become the guardian of your own mind. When negative thoughts come, and they will come, don't just accept them automatically. Question them. Challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is it moving me toward my goals or away from them? And when you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts, immediately replace them with positive, faith-filled declarations. Instead of, "I can't do this," say, "I am learning and growing every day." Instead of, "I always fail," say, "I am capable of success." Instead of, "I don't deserve good things," say, "I am worthy of the life God wants to give me." Now, some of you might think this sounds like empty positive thinking. But I want you to understand something. Your mind believes what you tell it most often. If you constantly tell yourself that you're a failure, your mind will look for evidence to support that belief. But if you consistently declare that you're capable, growing, and deserving of good things, your mind will start looking for evidence to support those beliefs instead. This is not about denying reality or pretending problems don't exist. This is about choosing to focus on possibilities instead of problems, on solutions, instead of obstacles, on what you're becoming instead of what you've been. I also want you to use the power of visualization. Spend time each day picturing yourself living the life you want to create. See yourself with the habits you want to build, the relationships you want to have, the goals you want to achieve. Make these mental pictures as vivid and detailed as possible. Your mind is incredibly powerful, and it doesn't easily distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. When you consistently visualize success, your mind begins to believe that success is not only possible, but inevitable. It starts looking for opportunities and solutions that align with that vision. But mastering your mindset also means being careful about what you allow into your mind. Just as you wouldn't knowingly eat poisoned food, you shouldn't knowingly consume poisoned thoughts through negative media, toxic conversations, or destructive entertainment. Be intentional about what you read, what you watch, what you listen to, and who you spend time with. Fill your mind with content that inspires you, challenges you to grow, and reminds you of your potential. Feed your mind with the truth of God's Word, with stories of triumph, with wisdom from those who have walked the path you're trying to walk. Remember, every challenge you face is an opportunity to strengthen your mind. When obstacles arise, and they will, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is this teaching me?" When setbacks occur, don't say, "This proves I can't do it." Say, "This is preparing me for my breakthrough." Your mindset is the lens through which you see everything in your life. Change the lens, and you change everything you see. Master your mind, and you master your life. As your mind becomes stronger and your vision becomes clearer, you'll reach a crucial moment in your transformation journey. It's the moment when you must stop planning and start doing. It's the moment when you must find the courage to take imperfect action. I've met so many people over the years who have tremendous dreams, detailed plans, and all the knowledge they need to succeed. They can tell you exactly what they want to accomplish and precisely how they plan to do it. They have journals filled with goals, notebooks full of strategies, and minds full of possibilities. But they never begin. They're waiting for the perfect moment. They're waiting for more confidence, more resources, more knowledge, more time. They're waiting for all the stars to align before they take their first step. And while they wait, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and months turn into years. My friend, let me share with you one of the most important truths I've learned. There is no perfect moment. There will never be a time when you have everything figured out, when all your fears are gone, when success is guaranteed. The perfect moment is a myth that keeps people trapped in permanent preparation. The truth is, you don't need to have it all figured out to get started. You don't need to feel completely confident to take action. You don't need perfect conditions to begin building the life you want. You just need to be willing to start where you are with what you have right now. Action is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. No amount of thinking, planning, or visualizing will create change in your life until you take action. And the beautiful thing about action is that it creates its own momentum. One step leads to another. One small victory builds confidence for the next challenge. One act of courage makes the next act of courage a little easier. I want you to understand something profound. Action is also the cure for fear. So many of you are paralyzed by fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what others will think. But fear grows in the absence of action. The longer you wait, the bigger and more intimidating your fears become. However, the moment you take action, even small, imperfect action, fear begins to lose its power over you. When you move forward despite your fear, you prove to yourself that fear doesn't have to control your decisions. You discover that you're braver than you thought, stronger than you imagined, and more capable than you believed. For these next 30 days, I want you to commit to taking action every single day. Not perfect action, not massive action, but consistent action. Read a few pages of a book that will help you grow. Write down your goals each morning. Exercise your body, even if it's just a short walk. Reach out to someone who inspires you. Take one small step toward a dream you've been putting off. These actions may seem insignificant at first. You might think, what difference can 20 minutes of reading make? Or, how can a 30-minute walk change my life? But I want you to understand that these small actions are like seeds. They may look insignificant when you plant them, but given time and consistency, they grow into something extraordinary. Don't make the mistake of despising small beginnings. Every oak tree started as an acorn. Every marathon begins with a single step. Every great achievement started with someone being willing to do something small, imperfect, and possibly uncomfortable. And here's something else I want you to remember. You don't need permission to start. You don't need anyone's approval to begin working on your dreams. You don't need to wait for someone else to believe in you before you believe in yourself. The power to change your life is already in your hands. If you've been waiting for a sign, consider this message your sign. If you've been waiting for encouragement, let me encourage you right now. You have everything within you that you need to begin. God has equipped you with talents, abilities, and potential that are waiting to be unleashed. But they will remain dormant until you take action. Now I know some of you are thinking about past failures. You're remembering times when you started strong but didn't finish. You're carrying the weight of previous attempts that didn't work out the way you hoped. And that weight is making you hesitant to try again. But let me ask you this. What if those weren't failures? What if they were preparation? What if every setback was setting you up for a comeback? What if every lesson learned through difficulty is making you stronger for what's coming next? Don't let past disappointments rob you of future possibilities. Don't let yesterday's mistakes prevent today's miracles. You are not the same person you were when you tried before. You've grown, you've learned, you've gained wisdom and experience. You're more prepared now than you've ever been. The question is not whether you'll face obstacles. You will. The question is not whether you'll ever feel discouraged. You might. The question is, will you let these temporary challenges stop you from pursuing the life God has planned for you? For the next 30 days, refuse to stop moving. If you stumble, get back up. If you miss a day, start again the next day. If progress seems slow, remember that slow progress is still progress. What matters is that you keep taking action, keep moving forward, keep believing that every step is bringing you closer to your breakthrough. My dear friend, as we near the end of our journey together, I want to share with you one of the most overlooked secrets of lasting transformation: the power of measuring your progress and celebrating your growth. You see, what gets measured gets improved. When you track your progress, when you document your journey, when you pay attention to how far you've come, something remarkable happens. You begin to see evidence of God's goodness in your life. You start to notice changes that might otherwise go unrecognized. You build momentum that carries you forward, even on the days when motivation is low. Think about it like this. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. If you only look up at how far you still have to go, you'll feel overwhelmed, discouraged, maybe even ready to turn back. But if you pause, turn around and look down at how high you've already climbed, you'll feel encouraged, proud, and ready to continue the ascent. That's exactly what measuring your progress does for your transformation journey. It helps you see how high you've already climbed, how much you've already changed, how far you've already come. And that vision of progress gives you the strength to keep climbing when the path gets difficult. For these 30 days, I want you to become a careful observer of your own growth. Keep a simple journal. It doesn't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. Just write down each day what you accomplished, how you felt, what you learned, what challenges you faced, and what victories you experienced. Notice the small changes that others might not see, but that you can feel. Maybe you're sleeping better because you're not scrolling your phone before bed. Maybe you're feeling more confident because you're keeping your commitments to yourself. Maybe you're more peaceful because you're starting your days in prayer instead of panic. These changes might seem insignificant to someone else, but they are miraculous to you. They are evidence that God is at work in your life, that transformation is happening, that you are becoming who you were created to be. But don't just measure the big milestones. Some of the most important growth happens in the small moments, in the tiny victories that no one else notices. The day you chose to respond with patience instead of anger. The morning you got up when you didn't feel like it. The evening you chose to read instead of mindlessly scroll. The moment you spoke words of encouragement instead of criticism. These moments matter. They are the building blocks of character, the foundation stones of lasting change. And when you pay attention to them, when you celebrate them, when you acknowledge their importance, you create a cycle of momentum that becomes unstoppable. I want you to understand something crucial. Progress is not always linear. There will be days when you feel like you're moving backward, when old habits try to reassert themselves, when your faith wavers and your resolve feels weak. On those days, especially, you need to look at your record of progress. You need to remind yourself of how far you've come. That's why celebration is so important. Too many people are so focused on the finish line that they miss the joy of the journey. They ignore their progress because it doesn't look like perfection yet. But let me remind you, progress is perfection in motion. Every small step forward is proof that God is working in your life. Celebrate the victories no matter how small they seem. Did you pray for 5 minutes today when you usually don't pray at all? Celebrate it. Did you choose water instead of soda? Celebrate it. Did you speak kindly to someone who was rude to you? Celebrate it. These moments of triumph deserve recognition because they represent the new person you're becoming. And here's something beautiful about celebration. It creates joy, and joy gives you strength for the journey ahead. When you acknowledge your progress, when you appreciate your growth, when you celebrate your victories, you're actually fueling your motivation for continued transformation. Progress also fuels more progress. When you see evidence that you're changing, you want to change more. When you track your wins, you crave more wins. When you celebrate your victories, you're inspired to achieve greater victories. It becomes a beautiful, self-reinforcing cycle of growth and success. As these 30 days come to an end, you'll be amazed at what you'll see when you look back at your journal, your notes, your records of progress. You'll see a story of transformation unfolding. You'll see evidence of God's faithfulness in your life. You'll see proof that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. But more than that, you'll see that transformation is not just a destination. It's a journey. It's not just about reaching a goal. It's about becoming the kind of person who can reach goals. It's not just about changing your circumstances. It's about changing yourself. And when you've changed yourself, when you've developed the habits of discipline and faith and positive thinking and consistent action, you'll discover something wonderful. You won't want to stop at 30 days. You'll have created a new way of living that you'll want to continue for the rest of your life. My friend, these 30 days are not the end of your transformation. They're the beginning. They're the foundation upon which you'll build a lifetime of growth, purpose, and significance. They're the starting point of a journey that will take you places you never dreamed possible. So measure your progress, celebrate your growth, and remember that every step forward is a step toward the life God has planned for you. You are changing, you are growing, you are becoming everything you were created to be. And that, my friend, is worth celebrating every single day. The transformation that begins in these 30 days doesn't end when the calendar page turns. It continues as you continue to choose growth over comfort, discipline over impulse, faith over fear, and action over hesitation. You are not just changing your habits, you are changing your identity. You are not just improving your life, you are stepping into your destiny. And that journey, that beautiful journey of becoming who God created you to be, begins right now with your very next choice. Choose wisely, choose boldly, choose faith. Your future self is counting on the decision you make today.